So here's the piece. I could start, depending on this illustration, just with the center line. And just look at the metal part with the pen tool, and I'm just going to concentrate on the contour on the outer side of it. So the shift key to represent this half line drawing. Kind of come out for a curve of the picture, still holding the shift key down to get some of the handles down and arching it just a little bit. Separating it there. So again, if you lose track of the points, just backtrack, undo, and it'll set you right up there. So just with this particular part. And again, just to show it to you, that's just the shape, silhouette. I'm going to take the reflect tool and just put it half the distance, so right on the center line or right on the edge, to just copy this over. Just have it in black so that you can see it, and highlighting this together so you can use the shape tool right there to bring that together and make it one piece. So now when I go back to it, so there's the one part of it. So let me just show that to you real quick. So that's the solid piece. Here's the reflect tool right on top there with the option. Copy it across, selecting them both, and then using the shape builder to blend them together. Okay, so that gives me the initial part, and it's trying to use the mesh tool, so I'm going to use the fill to start off with the medium gray. And the mesh tool, I'm just going to click along the top to set this contour line coming across it. And again, once I have that highlighted, I can take either from the top end or the bottom. I'm just going to try two variations of the color, and that'll give you the option from the top to the section. So it's giving you a variety of ways to shade. If you come further down, it'll set a crosshair that cuts across all the way to the opposite side. So depending on how you're working, you can bring the highlights in like that too. So it gives you a couple ways to modify it. Just have to watch that sometimes it changes the contour of it. So if you just stay on the outer edges, it'll give you that same function and just kind of carry it across the image from there. So you have that to work with. And every time you click down here, it'll give you another connection with that color. So you can start to illustrate it right from there. So it gives you a little bit of a section for that. When you take a look at the parts that are at the bottom, just going to take the rectangle tool and create a section here. And again, taking a look at the gradients and then just zooming into that part of it. And taking the same tool, I might even go with select one of these, take the gradient and switch it a little bit so it goes across, maybe bend it just a little bit, do the option and duplicate it down a little bit. Make the top one a little bigger. So it's trying to look for some subtle ways to manipulate the colors. So this being the bottom part, I might darken that up a little bit. Give that feel to it. So that's kind of the base of it. And then looking at the top, the spout, this is where you can start to illustrate with the pen, kind of taking a look at how you drew the drawing as well from your own sketch. Arching that in here. Spacebar. So it's just trying to get you to use, like, again, all the functions of Illustrator. I'm just going to keep this straight and curve it later. So it kind of gives me the overall section. Take the direct selection tool and just select these 2 points. This will let me curve it easier than I could have with the pen tool. So that kind of gives me a selection. Now to change some of the values, just a little trick here. With this selected, I'm just going to go to the object path and this new option, which is offset the path, and I'm in the unit of measure is picas, so I can make this a little bit smaller. Right now it's a little bit larger, so I'm just going to reduce it down, and it offsets itself inside that selection. Take the gradient, and you can see it's a much different part to it, and I can edit this right on the screen. So let's go back in and get some black in there. Set that off on the page there. So that gives me a little bit of the top piece, and then for the section that has the lid, just placing that in there with the gradient. You don't have to use the gradient, just trying to get you to think of any possible option that might come above, and how you could illustrate this a little bit. So here, just taking the direct selection to grab 1 point, see if I can get it. Setting that off there. So here it's just using these 2 shapes and putting it behind it. So right now I have a few of these selected down here. And I can highlight everything if I need to in order to align it vertically into the center, or keep it highlighted there. So it gives me that, at least that illusion for all the pieces that are there. So just see if you can take a look at that and shade it.